Okay, day 324. Today we got a subject to deal. So, subject to deal means that you are buying a property subject to the existing financing. And in this scenario, we see that actually, let me, 1 second. Let me just double check the audio. Sometimes I forget to do this, and sometimes I talk to mute. Okay, it's working. Excellent. Thank you for being patient with me. So we have a deal, 460. This was yesterday's deal, actually. Let me go ahead and plug in this numbers right here. 116 Moeller Street, Bertram, Texas, 78605. Purchase price 201,849. Let's go ahead and put these numbers in. 201,849. Interest rate 5.25% on the underlying loan. So we're buying the property, we're taking ownership of the property, but the underlying loan, we're just taking over the payments on it. We're not assuming it, we're just taking over it. So this is how you get your total monthly payment amount, which is disclosed to us, and your entry fee of 31,917. So let's go ahead and look at this. 2,700 square feet. So I'm not going to be able to turn into a 3-bedroom. And let's see, for today, 21,917 cash to seller with a $10,000 assignment fee. So I'm putting that right into E19 for your cash to seller, and then E21 for your assignment fees. And your total payment is going to be $1,193. So what did we do yesterday, right? You remember, we went to the property tax line and we took the disclosed monthly payment, and this is $1,193 in the scenario. And I want to subtract the principal portion of the subject to loan and interest portion of the subject to loan. Yesterday, we had 2 more fields because we had a seller financing deal. But this scenario does not. There is no equity in this. This is a pure subject to deal, means we are giving a down payment to the seller or the agent, and there is a loan that we're taking over the payments for. And this loan has a balance of 169,932, 169,932. with an interest rate of 5.25%. This matures in 7/5/52. So when it started 30 years ago, 7/5/22. 7/5/22. Okay. We got our numbers in here. It says right here that they estimate the rent is $13.20. Let's do some due diligence on that and see what we see here. So we're going to look up this deal, and this is 116 Moeller Drive. So the first thing we're going to do is figure out, okay, what is the condition of the property? Let's see. Do we see it on Zillow? All right, let's see. This property is already pending. So it looks relatively turnkey. Some carpet, but you really can't afford to do that big of a rehab here. So I'm going to set aside some money for cosmetic fixes, maybe just to do the paint and the flooring, but that's pretty much it. Maybe just for half the flooring. So for this property, I'm gonna go to my rehab calculator tab right here. This is 700 square feet. So I'm gonna say in row 86, I'm just 700 square feet to paint the house. I'm gonna assume that I need to do LVP at roughly $8 a square foot equals 700 divided by 2. So maybe only half the flooring needs to get fixed. So that's my rehab for the entire thing. For the interior. For the outside, I got $500 for landscaping. Just keep it clean while I get it rent ready. And I always put aside about $1,500 for the roof in case there's any issues with the roof that I need to patch up or anything like that. For my toilets, I have usually one toilet that I replace with high pressure flush toilets so that I can decrease the chances of those clogged toilet calls. So it gives me a total rehab of $8,800. Okay. Now for my rents, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to Google HUD FMR. HUD FMR stands for fair market rents. So this is why I am looking at the first link. And in this property, let's see what county this is in. Do control find on the word county. This is in Burnett County in Texas. So I'm going to look up Burnett County after I go to access the small area FMRs, click up FY 2025 FMRs, go to my state, and go to my county. Where is this? Burnett, B-U-R. Burnett County. And now I'm going to get a by bedroom count, by zip code. This is 78605. 78605. what my rent ceiling is. My rent ceiling here is $17.90. Let's write that one down. $17.90. Don't really care about my 4-bedroom rent here. This is 2-bed in 78605. 605. I'm writing down these numbers because my partners already know how I analyze my deals. So this kind of just makes it way more simpler. All right. So I got monthly income rents, and I got some principal interest. I got some insurance. I got 10% set aside for my maintenance every single month. This is money that I put aside every single month because I anticipate some repairs and things that need to get replaced. So, I'm sorry. Let's go through the rents first. See, this is why you still struggle sometimes even when you do it consistently. So now that I got my rent ceiling, at $17.90, I now am able to look at my market rents. To get my market rents, I had to go to affordablehousing.com. I got to the owner section, go to the market rents somewhere, plug in the address, plug in my bedroom count, and you're gonna see here that the average rent for a 2-bedroom is $1,400, but the radius is pretty ridiculous, 11.9 mile radius. That's a really, really big radius. So I'm not quite certain how much confidence I have in that rent number, but let's go with it, right? Because that's what's pulling it up. And I was assuming 11-mile radius. Maybe there really isn't that many comps. 1,400, 1,296, 1,296. So it's kind of in line with the city and the county and the zip. So that still works. 1,471. Oops, 1 second. Let's see what works. All right, sorry, that was my daughter calling, but I promise I'll always pick up her call. So excuse me for that. So let's go and finish up this analysis. So I'm using 1,400 because that is the lower number of the two. And in case you're wondering why I'm using the lower of the two, it's because of a test called the rent reasonableness test. In the rent reasonableness test, you will see in section 2.2 of the Housing Choice Voucher Program Guidebook, HCV is what Housing Choice Voucher is. And this was previously known as Section 8. But in Section 2.2, it talks about the rent reasonableness. It says that in conducting rent reasonableness, the PHA must determine whether the rent to the owner is a reasonable rent in comparison to rent for other comparable unassisted units. So this is why the size and unit type really matters, right? So you're probably comparing 2-bedroom apartments because it went like 11 miles in radius to try to figure out a place. And I'm assuming this area is pretty rural, I'm guessing. Yeah, this is really, really small area all the way northwest, almost way outside Austin. So just be careful when you're looking for comps. But that's why we got to use the lower of the two, right? We got to be conservative here. And 1,400 is the number that we're going to use. But frankly, if even the wholesaler said it was going to be 1,380, 1,320, I might go use 1,320 because that might be a little skewed. So at 1,320, let's see if it's cash flowing. All right, 10% set aside every single month. I added extra $30 for insurance because we're turning it from a primary residence to an investment property, and we're anticipating that insurance expenses will continue to go up. We got 10% for my property manager. We got 5% for the vacancy expenses because someone always moves out. So if you rent this out at $1,320, you will be negative cash flow $233 a month, and that would be a cash-to-cash return on negative 6%. Assuming your entry fee was correct, you had $21,000, $10,000 for the assignment, 2.5% for closing costs, and we got $8,800 for renovations. So to me, that's not a deal, right? And obviously, this is not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments on this call. I'm simply showing you all the work I do every single day to decide whether or not this is something that's worth my time. And for me, this is not worth my time, right? Even if you got to $1,400 for your rent, you're still going to be negative 173, right? Negative 173, even if you got to 1,400. Let's say you got best case scenario, right? Which is probably not what's going to happen, because 1,790 would also include utilities. You probably have to deduct at least $100 worth of utilities if you don't include utilities, right? Because at 1,790, the payment standards usually includes utilities. So after you deduct that, chances are it's going to be a break-even deal. So unless you think this is a very high appreciating market, then this might not be the right deal for you. And again, everybody has different goals, right? You might invest in somewhere where it's purely for cash flow. You might invest somewhere where it's purely for appreciation. Hence, that makes it a very speculative investment. But to each their own, all right? Everybody has their own strategy. So you have to pick and decide whether or not this is the right fit for you and whether or not this is the right strategy for you. I'm simply showing you all the work to do every single day so that you put in the reps and get the habit and the comfort that you know what you're doing. When a deal comes across the table and slaps you across the face, are you going to think that it was worth it? And that's only something that you can be certain of, not anybody else, not someone talking on a YouTube channel, not any gurus out there. It's going to be on you and your comfort. So my hope is that you look at the same deal I analyzed today, right? Using the same spreadsheet, right? Same information. There's nothing. I got emailed this deal just like, so there's nothing here. Now, what you want to do is, if you guys want a copy of the Excel spreadsheet, right? I didn't make it from scratch. I got it from a few other folks. I modified it. I tweaked it, combined a few versions. And this allows me to analyze the deal really quick, really fast. So if you want to put in your name, email, or phone number, that's the fastest way for you to get a copy of the spreadsheet. And if you want, I can also include you on my email list, meaning that I can send you any opportunities whenever they come across my table, or you just want to be updated on my projects. Like right now, we just completed a 4-bedroom conversion from a 3-bed to a 4-bed. If you guys want to look at the story from today, is right in, I don't know why it's like that. Maybe because I logged out, but it's right in my Instagram stories today. So you guys can always take a look at it. And I'll be back here again tomorrow for day 325. All right. Have an amazing day, everybody. Hope you guys spend some quality time with your family and friends today. All right. I'll see you all tomorrow.